Lesson is adding and subtracting decimals. I also like to call this lesson Line It Up, because lining up your decimal point is a necessity when you're adding and subtracting decimals. By lining up your decimal point, you will make sure that your decimal place value is accurate. So now that I have my decimals lined up, when I'm adding 1 and 452 thousandths to 1 and 3/10 in example 1, you notice that you would have 2 blank spots after the 3. So we're going to add zeros for placeholders. Again, that's going to keep our decimal places lined up accurately. If you don't put those zeros in, you run the risk of not keeping your columns straight. Once you have your decimal points lined up and you have added your zeros, now just add like normal. 2 plus 0 is 2, 5 plus 0 is 5, 4 plus 3 is 7, then the decimal point, 1 plus 1 is 2. Now let's look at example 2. We're going to subtract. So again, we're going to set it up so the decimal points are lined up. And after the 5, you would have a blank space. So we're going to add a 0. That'll keep your numbers in the right columns and make sure you don't add tenths to hundredths and so on. Now, once you've lined up your decimal points and kept good columns and added your 0, now subtract like normal. 8 minus 0 is 8. 6 minus 5 is 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. Then your decimal point. 7 minus 1 is 6. Now, when you have an answer for decimals, it's always a good idea to check your work with estimation. So let's look at example 1. 1 and 452 thousandths is close to 1.5. And 1 and 3/10, let's just say that's around 1. And if we add 1.5 plus 1, we get 2.5. Well, 2.5 is close to 2 and 752 thousandths, so it looks like we did example 1 correctly. Now let's estimate example 2. 7 and 368 thousandths is close to 7.5. And 1 and 15 hundredths is close to 1. So if you do 7.5 minus 1, you get 6.5. And that is close to the answer we got. So it looks like we did both problems correctly. That's all there is to it. Make sure you line it up.